I'm going to be upfront with you. I actually am not a fan of Superman. I feel he's a deus ex machina in a lot of stories. But even though I don't like him, there are some stories I feel that you should probably read. So here are 5 of them. Welcome back, this is Jack. Let's get the obvious one out of the way, Kingdom Come. I've mentioned this in a previous video, but that's because it is considered one of the golden comics. It's one of the best comics, and it kind of cements a lot of the mindset for how these characters have gone forward since its creation. So I do recommend this one, but for those who haven't seen that video, it's basically a future comic where Superman had retired because of the death of Lois Lane after Joker got killed by a new hero, and the hero did not get punished. So he felt someone like him doesn't need to be active anymore, so he just kind of retires, and then things go to hell. So that's a good one to read. Another prominent one that I actually did enjoy is Red Son for many reasons. There is an animated movie if you would rather watch it than read it, but I still recommend you read it. One of the reasons I enjoy it is because it does show you that no matter where he goes, he is still Clark Kent. He is still Superman. He is still going to try to do the right thing, even if what he views as the right thing is not what we would view as the right thing. It also oddly shows Lex Luthor in a position of being the good guy. So that's kind of interesting in its own right. So I do recommend reading it, if for no other reason that. But for those who don't know the overall story of that one, Clark Kent lands in communist Russia and becomes a communist Superman, and then eventually takes over, and then it goes from there. This one may fly under some people's radars, but it is a very good one to read. It is the period, the end point of the Silver Age, Golden Age Superman. So I think Superman of Earth 3. And it's told through an interview with Lois Lane, who is now married to somebody else because Superman is gone. And it tells the story of his final fight. And because this is supposed to be his final fight, it takes all the gloves off. It tells a very dark and interesting story involving most of his villains of the time, including a dark Mixoplex, which is very interesting. I highly recommend reading this one. Just remember, it does get dark. The next one you might know more from its animated movie name, but it's What Is So Funny About the American Way. The animated movie is known as Superman versus the Elite. I like this one very specifically because it shows what is Superman, why he is the way he is, why he does the things he does, why he chooses not to kill when it would probably be a lot easier for him in a lot of cases. I honestly feel that if they ever decide to reboot the Superman story, they actually need to use Superman versus the Elite kind of fight to explain why he is the way he is as he becomes Superman. No longer Clark Kent, but Superman. Because that's kind of a big deal. But for those who have seen neither the Superman versus the Elite or know what I'm talking about, the Elite is a superhero group who shows up and just starts killing villains like it's nothing and getting cheered for it. And eventually, they actually challenge him to a fight, and he takes his gloves off, he kicks their butts, and actually makes it look like he's going to kill them at one point. It's really dark and really interesting. If nothing else, watch the animated movie. It's really good. This last one sounds really weird to bring up, but it's Superman Year One. No, this is not the story of Clark Kent becoming Superman-ish. This is back when he's still wearing a t-shirt and jeans trying to be Superman. And in this one, it actually opens with him holding a corrupt sweatshop owner over the side of a building and telling him he's not doing that anymore. This kind of edge on Superman where he's not fighting, supervillains or Lex Luthor, he's actually fighting corrupt parts of the system, I feel need to be brought back to some degree. Because you always see Superman stopping natural disasters, you see him fighting supervillains, and you see him fighting whatever Lex Luthor is doing, but you don't see him fighting any of the systemic things that are going on, like, rent slumlords, just stealing from their tenants. He doesn't do anything about it. But this part of him really was interesting to me. Unfortunately, they kind of drop it shortly after it's introduced, but it is still an interesting thing to see. You see elements of what the Superman could have been. These have been 5 comics I highly recommend you read that are Superman comics, a character I don't even actually like. I do recommend you take a look at them. And of course, like, subscribe, share, the things I'm required to say as a YouTuber. See you in the next one.